Hello everyone, welcome to my video. In this video, we are going to play one of the important Chopin's waltzes together. And before we start, it's good to know a little bit about the Romantic period and Frédéric Chopin. But some of you may think that learning about the history and biography of composers isn't really important, but actually I think it is really important, and I really suggest you to do that. And remember that every musical pieces are an expression of the composer's emotions to the audiences. And understanding composer's life can help us to understand their emotional and moral characteristics, which can be helpful during your performance. And also, knowing about the history of each period can be really helpful because it can help us to learn about the playing styles of each period. For instance, trills were played differently during Baroque period compared to classical period, and also some techniques such as rubato were used in Romantic period, allowing performance creativity and innovation in changing the speed and duration of notes. So I suggest you, before playing, please familiarize yourself with the composer's life and playing styles of each period. The Romantic period, spanning from 19th century to early 20th century, was a time when composers and performers emphasized the personal emotion, individual expression, and artistic freedom. Actually, this period came after classical era and before modern era, and is marked by social and cultural transformations and changes. In this era, there was industrial revolution, urbanization, and social transformations that change people's attitude and artistic taste. Some of the important composers in this era are Beethoven, Schubert, Mendelssohn, Liszt, Chopin, Wagner, and Brahms. And the next question is that, who was Chopin? Actually, Chopin is one of the most prominent composers and pianists during Romantic period. And he's famous because of his innovation in piano music and his significant influence on classical music. And also his piano pieces including nocturnes, etudes, waltzes, and preludes. He believed that the piano was an instrument in order to expressing human emotions, and he sought to maximize its potential through innovative techniques. And despite his living in Paris, he had a deep sense of nationalism and attachment to his homeland, I mean Poland. And some of his pieces like Mazurka and Polonaise reflect his nationalism. And the next question and topics that we want to know about Chopin is about his waltzes. Actually, what is waltz? Actually, waltzes are a collection of pieces in a waltz style and typically in 3/12 meter. And Chopin's waltzes are among the most popular work of Chopin. While Chopin's waltzes close to Venice dance waltzes, but its poetic and emotional qualities can separate them from simple dance waltzes. And about Chopin waltz number 19 in A minor, I can say that it's written in final years of his life, and unlike many Chopin's work, it's not published during his lifetime, but actually it was released after his death. So today we are going to play one of Chopin's waltzes together, Chopin's waltz in A minor. So the first step is to sight read the piece, and I have some suggestions to do it more easily. So you should understand identifying the highest and lowest notes in your piece, which can help you to identify the piece's range, which can be really helpful. And some students have a struggle with notes in leisure lines, and I suggest to them to identify these notes and become more familiar with these notes and write down the names of some notes in order to remember them later. And the next step is to find motifs and recurring patterns in your repertoires. For example, in Chopin's waltzes, repetition is really common, so we have to identify these repetitions. And recognizing these repetitions can help you to play the piece more accurately. However, you should be aware that when composers repeating phrases, it's possible to make some changes and differences. For example, they can change the scale, or they can change some notes. So you should really pay attention to them. For example, if you have two phrases that are similar to each other, but they have small differences, so you should highlight them in order to remember them in your sight reading. And the next thing that you should pay attention to that is intervals. Intervals are really important because maybe a particular interval have repeated over and over again during your repertoires. So you should pay attention to intervals and practice them separately. And also you should pay attention to finger movements. Finger movements are really important, and you should mark and highlight them in order to remember them. For example, in one measure you have your third finger on E notes, and the next measure your third finger in D notes. So you should mark them and highlight them in order to remember them. And today we are going to play Chopin's waltz in A minor, and I prefer to start with left hands because left hands have more wide intervals. You know, you should, for example, jump from A to AC, A to AC, and then D to ADF, B to ADF, and then G to GBF. Okay, so we have more wide intervals, so we should practice these intervals separately. And the main challenge for some students is to find chord notes without messing up the rhythm. For example, they play like this. Like this. So, but how we can do this? I have some exercises that can help you to play this piece correctly. I suggest you some exercises. So please, first of all, remember the shape of your hands and use the same fingers. So use the same fingering for each chord, which is really important. For example, if you want to play ACE, and once again you want to play ACE, you should use 4 to 1 each time. 4 to 1, 4 to 1, 4 to 1, okay? Or when you want to play ADF, I use 5 to 1. So we should use the same fingering each time, which is really important. And if you use different fingers every time, it's really time consuming and can be really challenging and a little bit confusing. So because you have to take some time to select an appropriate fingering. So select the same fingering, which is really important. And also memorizing the intervals are really important because some students may mess up the rhythms. So I recommend you some exercises to do this properly. For example, if you want to jump from A to A C, you should jump from A to A to C, A to E, like this. And for example, for the next chord, we use D to A, D, F, okay? D to A, D, F. So we should practice like this. D to A, D to A, D to D, D to D, D to F, D to F, like this. Another exercises that I recommend you to practice is to practice each chord in different octaves, which can help you to understand the harmony and chord progression better. For example, in the second measure, we have ACE. We can play ACE in different octaves, and then we have ADF. So we play ADF in different octaves. By means of that, we can master this section. Also, after playing the left hands and practicing the exercises, we should focus on your right hand and play the melody line with paying more attention to nuances and dynamics, which is really important. And in the first section, we have two ornaments, which can be really challenging and difficult for some students. And for these ornaments, I suggest you to practice a few times, once legato and once staccato. And then legato. So like this, you can master this section as well. So after sight reading, it's time to start playing. Many students eager to start playing with original tempo, but I suggest to them to start playing with much slower pace. And before that, identifying melody line can be really helpful. You should identify that melody line in the right hand or left hand. And before playing the melody line, you should practice the rhythm and then singing the melody and then start to playing. And the next step is that we should practice left hand and right hand separately and ensuring that we can maintain the correct rhythm. Otherwise, incorrect rhythm establish in our mind, and after that, it's difficult and time consuming to correct that. And the next challenge for the students is about coordination, coordinating both hands together, which is really difficult. But in this time, I suggest you to take your time and be patient with yourself. For example, if you're a melody line in the right hand and in an accompaniment chords in the left hand, so we should start playing in left hand while singing the right hand, which can help your coordination, like this. I play left hand first. The melody line on left hand. La, si, do, do, re, mi, fa, after that, we should try both hands together and connecting the measures together. In this time, I suggest you to practice first of all 2 measures and then add 3 measures and play them continuously. This approach can prevent common issues like pausing between each measure. For example, many students play like this. This is wrong because you separate each measures from each other. This is wrong. So we should pay attention to musical phrases. And for example, maybe a musical phrases consists of 4 measures. So in this case, we should play 4 measures continuously and together. And it can be similar to speaking as well. For example, how we breathe during speaking, we breathe end of each sentence and rather than between each words. And if you stop between each measures, it looks like that you stop between each words, that it sounds like a robot, you know, it's not beautiful. So for this purpose, I suggest you to play first of all 2 measures together and then 3 measures and then 4 measures like this. I practice, for example, 2 measures. Then I start over and play 2 measures together. And then in this time, I add 5th measure, for example, like this. Okay, we can practice like this over and over again to master this section. And always remember that playing an instrument is like singing, and the purpose of music, in my opinion, is to convey a concept and message to the audiences. So paying attention to phrases can help us to effectively communicate our intentions and emotions to the listeners and audiences. And after that, in the second part, it can be really challenging for some students because it has more ornaments, and also this measure can be really tricky because for this measure we have to play 3 notes for a 1/4 note, and then we have to play 5 notes for a 1/4 note. So for this section, I suggest you to first sight read and practice to read them over and over again. For example, like this: 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, do, do. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, do, do. And then repeat the rhythm over and over again until you memorize it, and then playing on the piano like this. Okay. And the next challenge is a recurring pattern and a motif here, which is like this. I suggest you to, when you want to play this ornament, use your wrist and keep your wrist flexible. Use your wrist up, like this. Raise your wrist up and play, like this. Also, we should pay attention to dynamics and nuances during performance, which is really important because through that we can express our emotions and feelings to the audiences. And also we can distinguish performance from each other because every musician has their own unique expression. And just as different interpretation of a topic, musicians have their own and different style of playing. So also music pieces are an emotional message of the composers to the audiences, and they want to convey a concept through music. So I said all of that to tell you that it's crucial for performers to focus on this stage. Okay, we can start with piano. Composers and performers have the freedom to use rubato techniques. In rubato techniques, we can change the tempo during our performance and convey our feelings and emotions to the audiences. Like this, instead of playing like a robot and like this. We can use rubato and change the speed. So use your imagination, use your feelings in order to convey your emotions to the audiences. It is really important. Paying attention your performance, and please listen to your performance and paying attention to dynamics and nuances. Also, it is important to pay attention to warm-up exercises like etudes, and every musician has a unique practice routine in order to develop techniques. And apart from that, it is important to design specific practice routine according to your repertoires. So for example, in Chopin's Waltzes, large finger jumps is really challenging for some students. So create an exercise in order to improve your speed, accuracy with these jumps. So that was a tutorial for Chopin's Waltzes in A minor and for the first page. And I hope you enjoy it. And remember that don't limit yourselves to the repertoires and notes. And always use your imagination, creativity, and innovation while you're playing. And until the next video, see you soon, and goodbye.